Come on in, pull up a chair, and take a load off because today I'll be reviewing and paging through the Excellence from Ninth Level Games. So, is the Excellence, well, an excellent role playing game for gamers of all ages? Or should you change the channel on this cartoon inspired light RPG? Well, you're going to find out right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, welcome back to the Duct Tape Studios and happy holidays. I'm Jeff McAleer, back again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As I mentioned in the open, I am going to be reviewing the Excellence in just a moment. But first, I do want to remind you, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it will not only let you know when I upload videos such as this, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Without further ado, I am going to be diving on into the Excellence from Ninth Level Games. It's designed by Adriel Wilson and Chris O'Neill, with artwork provided by Tina Bongorno. The 76-page mini digest-sized book is available. It's for $13 in softcover. You can get it in PDF over at DriveThru RPG for $12.99, which is kind of an odd pricing strategy. I'll discuss that a little bit later. But also do want to mention, if you are interested in picking this up in PDF, the Gaming Gang is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to swing over to, say, DriveThru RPG, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you do happen to make a purchase, you get a little tiny portion of that sale. And all those little tiny portions really do add up and help keep the Gaming Gang around. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Excellence. So as I mentioned, this is a small book. You saw that in the open as I held it up. It is a pretty small book. So, and I don't have massive hands, just so you know. I have probably a little smaller than average hands. Before we dive into this, I do want to mention that the fine folks over at Ninth Level Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share my thoughts about this book. It's very important you understand that, so I wanted to share that right away. So let's flip on over to the back. I'm not going to read all of this. I'll just give you a little bit of a taste. You've earned a sword. You've won a crown. Now you have a responsibility to help keep awesome world awesome and safe. Are you princess enough? A game about being excellent princesses in an awesome cartoon world. Powered by Polymorph, the Excellence features a unique one die per player role-playing system that's perfect for new players and veterans alike. Let's jump on in. This came out in 2019. This was nominated for an Emmy Award for Best Game System. So, and as I mentioned, it does utilize the polymorph system. I'm going to page through here. One of the first things I'm going to point out, and you will see this throughout the book, just the way this maybe it's just my copy, I would hope. The way this was bound, it's cutting off. Here it's not so bad, but further on into the book, we're losing the first letter from every line. Very, very strange. So not the greatest job as far as the binding on this. So who are the Excellents? Well, they're you. At least you're one of them. So essentially, the player characters are, granted, they're called princesses, but it doesn't matter. It can be any gender. Doesn't really matter. You don't have to be female. It's just saying the princesses are like super cool and they've got special abilities. Not necessarily that they happen to be female. So here it says, no matter who you are, you can be an excellent princess. We can all be princesses. I am a princess. So, as I also mentioned in the open, this is kind of a cartoon-inspired role-playing game. This is a very light role-playing game, and it is for all ages. And it kind of has a vibe where you could be running games along the lines of, say, like She-Ra or maybe My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. Geez, even like the Care Bears, something along those lines. So we get a little information about the awesome world, some places in the awesome world. Talking about the different roles, the Excellence does utilize the polymorph system, which is essentially, depending on what your character's role happens to be, determines the die that you will use all of the time. Could be a 4-sided die, 6-sided die, 8-sided die, or 10-sided die. So essentially it's asking, okay, so what kind of character do you want? Do you want to have like magic powers? Do you want to be real knowledgeable about different things? Then you want a 4-sided die. Do you want to be like the brainy one? 6-sided die. Do you want to be charming? Maybe you're kind of roguish. You're going to use the 8-sided die. And if you want to be the tank, just laying a beat down, the 10-sided die is for you. So we get into a bit of a discussion about what these are. If you are familiar with the polymorph system, you're going to be good to go. This will tell you a little bit about each of the character types. It's also going to tell you, what are you good at? So good at crowns, good at books, and you're good at beast. Each of the player characters, all the princesses, also have a pet, a beast, that is available to them as well. So here we've got the brainy one, books and boots. Boots is sort of the agility kind of attribute. Here we've got blades and boots. Here we've got the tough one. So that is going to be blades, as well as, well, it's called bones in mazes, but here it's called heart. So kind of, like your hit points. So this is an example of a princess character sheet. And it's going to show you right here, okay, so what do you need to roll to succeed? So, keeping in mind that, let's say you're kind of the magic user. Well, you're going to roll a 4-sided die, and to succeed, you need a 2 or a 3. That's not too shabby on a 4-sided die. Now, let's say you're kind of the tank. You get that 10-sided die. Well, you can still try to roll books. You can roll shoes. You can roll sword, heart. It's just your chances of success are quite a lot lower than the D4. So the D10, you're looking at essentially a 20% chance of success. Whereas with the D4, you're looking at 50%. And there's also advantage and disadvantage as well. Talking about your diary, your crown. Your crown is essentially the highest number that is on the die. So if you're a D6, your crown is actually a 6. So it talks a little bit about the beast. Your beast is always around, but when you roll a 1 on your action, your beast is directly getting involved. The realm and your crown, some examples of realms. Your heart. So your heart is attitude, exuberance, caring, and love. That is what your heart is. Heart words. It's kind of, if you want to randomize what sort of character you're going to have, you can take 2 10-sided dice, roll them together for your percentile dice. You could be adorable, or you could be joyful, or tenacious, serene. you've got your sword. So your sword doesn't necessarily have to be a sword. It's just kind of like a magical weapon. A special weapon that's only for you. So for an example, Laser Princess has the coolest green laser sword that's super good at cutting through bureaucracy and getting things done. Flaming Sword Princess has, you guessed it, a flaming sword. We're talking about your shoes. So every princess has awesome shoes, even if they're barefoot. So it talks a little bit about that. So you get to gain advantage on yoga, woodsy stuff, getting things done. So you can have different shoes. So that gives you kind of like a specialty. So whereas in, other more crunchy role-playing games, you would probably be picking, well, I get these skills or I get these specialties that give me a bonus to my die roll. All it's basically saying is the type of shoes that you've got are going to give you an advantage, which, of course, advantage is rolling your 2 dice. Disadvantage is rolling 2 dice. So we got your beast friend. Talking about stars. Talking about basically the polymorph system. How does it work? So what's going on? Using your skills, knowledge, ideas, and training is for books. Shoes is all about physical action, running, jumping, climbing, swimming, general athleticism. Sword is fighting and defending stuff. Heart is using your attitude, exuberance, caring, and live. So winning, losing, lessons. Talking about your advantage and disadvantage. As you can see, we've got art throughout. The big bads. Talk a little bit of info about creating an episode. Like I said, this game is inspired by those 22-minute cartoons out there. So you're really looking to kind of draw in, inspiration from your favorite sorts of cartoons. Talking about playing a complete season, whereas traditionally we'd call something like that a campaign. But okay, so if you notice, as I open this up, now I am pulling this open without trying to, ruin the binding on this, the glue. But as you can see, just looking at it, reading it like you normally would, the first letter is cut off. A little disappointing. Granted, I can read it, but I a lot of times I had to sit there and kind of like be bending the book and be like, all right, okay, cuckoo bee queen. So anyway, we're in a section here talking about different episodes having a season. Episode scripts. And it gives you an example of some of the different sorts of princesses you could have, right? Laser Princess. Science fiction movies, she knows everything about them. And she's got her laser sword there. We've got Hair Metal Princess, the tough one. So her sword, as an example, right? Remember I was telling you it doesn't have to be a sword. It's her guitar. Or I should say his guitar. Or their guitar. I should say it's their guitar. We've got the library book princess. Maple syrup princess. It's the tomato princess. Or you might prefer to say tomato princess. Get a little discussion about gameplay around the table. And then we finish up with the cool little princess character sheet there. We've seen this a couple of times in the book. And that is all 76 pages of the excellence. So let's swing on over to the other camera and I will share my final thoughts and provide a review score for the excellence. There's a lot to really like about this small digest-sized book. There's tons of fun gaming packed within. I recently reviewed Mazes, which is an old school Renaissance flavored role playing game that's aimed for a little bit different audience, but it also utilizes the polymorph system. And I really, really dug that. I think this is an excellent introductory role playing game, especially for younger kids who are way more familiar with the types of cartoons that this is based on than I am. I mean, honestly, I know this is not necessarily aimed at myself. I don't have children, nor do I play games with younger kids. I just don't have any in my family that I would be hanging out with. That said, I think this is really, really well done, and it's a lot of fun, and you'll get a lot of mileage out of it. That said, I can't get over the bad binding here. It's just a pain in the rear end to try to read this. Every page, especially those that are on the right side, you really have to mess around and kind of like, you're going to eventually end up ruining the binding on this. Hopefully it's only my copy. If it's like through the entire print run, that's a serious issue. Also, the pricing model is very, very weird. So this is $12.99. I have seen it marketed also as an MSRP of $13, but the back of the book actually says $12.99. But the PDF is the same price. It's $12.99. That makes absolutely no sense. For one, I think $13 for this little digest is a little pricey. It's a couple of bucks more than I would want to see this at. And then essentially $13 for the PDF, that is way overpriced for a PDF. And I get it. Ninth Level Games is not some huge publisher or anything like that. I understand. The problem I see is that with this pricing, you're probably going to see people take a pass on the excellence who would actually love this game simply because of the pricing, because there are other lighter introductory role-playing games, maybe not necessarily based on the same or inspired by the same cartoons as the excellence happens to be, but still introductory, aimed at younger gamers, really gamers of all ages who aren't looking for a ton of crunch in their role-playing game rules, that the pricing is way lower, especially for PDFs, or you're getting a way higher page count than 76 pages. Like I said, the pricing on this, I think, is probably turning some people away from what otherwise is an excellent game. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I give the excellence an 8 out of 10, mainly dinging it for the lousy binding, which really brings the production kind of like consideration down quite a bit. And I think the pricing is a little high for what you're actually getting. That is it for this time out. So once again, if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't yet already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I upload reviews such as this one, I'll also tell you when the live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights, as I bring you the latest in tabletop gaming news. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. I certainly wish everyone out there a very happy and healthy holiday season. Hope you're having as wonderful a time as you possibly can during this never-ending pandemic. And as I wrap up all my videos during this aforementioned never-ending pandemic, I also hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, if you'd like to subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel, by all means, click right here. And if you'd like to check out one of our recent live streams, click right up top. And if you want to roll the dice and see what the algorithm for YouTube recommends, click right here. And of course, thank you once again for watching. And gang, please stay safe and wear a mask.